Hey, let me ask you something. Have you ever had a woman ask you a question that seemed totally random? Like, why aren't you married? Or, do you date younger women? You probably thought she was just making conversation. But here's the real truth. She was testing the water quietly, carefully. And if you didn't notice, she noticed that you didn't. This isn't just small talk. It's a coded signal, and if you're not tuned into it, you'll miss something powerful. This video is for the older man who's still out there dating, connecting, maybe starting over, and wants to finally understand how attraction looks after a certain age. Because here's the thing, after 40, flirting changes. It doesn't shout, it whispers. It doesn't tease, it tests. It's not always obvious. It's disguised as curiosity. And if you're not emotionally present, you'll walk away from something real without even realizing it. So, today on Dark Psychology, I, Amelia, am going to walk you through 7 subtle questions women ask when they're secretly interested in you, and how your answer can either open the door or close it without either of you realizing it. This is not about pickup lines. It's about presence, emotional confidence, and knowing the deeper truth behind her words. So, if you've ever walked away from a woman thinking, she seemed nice, but probably wasn't into me, then this video is going to change how you see everything. Question number 1, how old are you? Let's get into it. When a woman looks you in the eye and asks, how old are you? She's not just asking for a number. This is not a census question. She's taking your emotional temperature, trying to understand not your age, but your relationship to it. She wants to know, are you hiding from it? Are you ashamed of it? Or are you at peace with it? Because while many men fear aging, most women aren't repelled by age at all. What repels them is shame. If you flinch, if you get defensive or try to act young to cover it up, she senses the insecurity, and instantly the connection falters, not because of your age, but because of how you feel about your age. On the other hand, if you smile calmly and say, older than I look, younger than I feel, without over-explaining, without trying to impress, she hears something powerful, self-acceptance, and that's magnetic. Because here's what most men don't realize. Women aren't looking for a man trying to relive his 20s. They're drawn to a man who carries his years with grounded energy, quiet wisdom, and emotional maturity. They're drawn to presence. Let me be clear. It's not about pretending time hasn't passed. It's about being proud of how it has shaped you. A man who owns his age, the grey hairs, the stories, the battle scars, and still stands with confidence and peace. He radiates emotional safety. And emotional safety is the most attractive force you can offer a woman because it allows her to do something she rarely gets to do. Let her guard down, lean in, trust. So the next time she asks you, how old are you? Don't just hear it as a casual question. Hear it as an invitation to show her who you really are without pretending to be anyone else. And when you do that, you don't just become memorable, you become irresistible. Why aren't you married? Let's talk about the next question, the one that can catch you completely off guard. Why aren't you married? She may toss it out playfully with a teasing smile or a tone that says, no big deal, but don't be fooled. Beneath the surface, it's not just casual conversation, it's emotional radar. She's quietly scanning for something very real. She's not asking about paperwork. She's asking about your capacity to love. Is your heart open? Or is it still stuck somewhere you never fully left? Because when a woman asks this, what she really wants to know is, are you still living in the shadows of old wounds? Or have you done the inner work? Is there space, not just in your house, but in your life for someone real? Most men get this wrong. Some get defensive. Marriage is a trap. Women these days aren't worth it. Some go into self-deprecation. Just unlucky, I guess. Others dodge the question with humour or sarcasm. But here's what she's actually listening for. Not your history, but your state. Has he grown? Or is he still carrying the same weight he was years ago? Because no woman wants to walk into a man's life just to become a placeholder for what he lost or worse, a battleground for what he hasn't healed. The strongest response doesn't defend or justify. It gently shows her that you've made peace with your path. Something like, "There was a time I thought I would be, but life had other plans. I've learned what I truly value, and now I'm open to something real when it's right." That answer doesn't just sound healthy, it feels healthy. It communicates something rare in today's world. Emotional maturity without bitterness, readiness without desperation. Because real emotional availability is not just saying, "I'm ready." It's showing it in how you speak, how you carry yourself, and how you share your truth. Pay attention to your tone when you speak of the past. Are you bitter, sarcastic, quietly blaming? Or are you calm, reflective, at peace with what was, and even more ready for what could be? Even more than your words, she's reading your energy. She's reading how you relate to your own story. She's asking herself, has this man done the work? Is he emotionally available? Or will I just be another chapter he's not ready to write? A man who's integrated his past and moved forward doesn't have to convince her with words. She feels it in his presence. And listen closely. When she asks a question like this again, or in a slightly different form, she's not asking about your wedding plans. She's scanning your emotional airspace. What she wants to know is, can I trust this man to hold something real with me? Is he carrying love in his heart or just the echo of what used to be? The man who can answer that question, not with performance, but with peace, is a man who immediately feels safe, steady, and seen. And in a world of wounded bravado and shallow charm, that man, he stands out not because he's chasing love, but because he's finally stopped running from it. Do you date younger women? Now, let's get into one of the most misunderstood questions a woman can ask. Do you date younger women? At first glance, it might sound like she's just fishing for your dating preferences, maybe even teasing a little. But here's the truth most men never hear. She's not asking about age. She's asking about possibility. She's floating a quiet, vulnerable idea into the air disguised as small talk. A whisper that says, could something be happening here? Am I just a friend, or maybe something more? Behind those simple words is a test of perception. Can you see past age and recognize chemistry? Can you connect beyond convention? Can you see her? This question, while seemingly casual, is loaded. It carries with it a flicker of hope, a hint of longing, and a chance to step into something deeper. If you're awake enough to notice, here's where many men fall short. They respond with a flat, logical answer. Yeah, I've dated younger women. It depends. Or worse, sure, younger women are more fun. This completely misses the emotional moment because what she's offering isn't an invitation to brag about past dates. It's an invitation to show your openness, not just to age differences, but to genuine connection. She's watching to see, do you respond with awareness? Can you handle intimacy that goes beyond attraction? Are you emotionally flexible or stuck in old patterns? A man who understands this will slow down, feel the question, and respond with sincerity. Something simple but telling. Honestly, I'm more interested in the energy between us than anything else. That kind of response is like a breath of fresh air. It says, I see you. I feel something here, and I'm open to where this might go. Suddenly, the room changes. the conversation shifts. It's no longer about data points. It's about connection. You see, when a woman asks, "Do you date younger women?" what she's hoping deep down is that you'll answer with more than words. She's hoping to feel safe exploring the idea of being seen. She wants to know, are you rigid in your rules, or are you alive in the present moment? Because real attraction, the kind that lingers, doesn't come from matching on paper. It comes from the vibe you co-create, the spark that doesn't care about statistics. Here's the magic. When you answer her with warmth, not calculation, when you speak with presence, not performance, you're giving her something that very few men ever do, permission to feel something real. You're telling her, this moment matters, not because of your age, but because you're here. And so am I. That kind of energy is rare, and women remember it. Not for what you said, but for how you made her feel when you said it. Because the truth is, a man who dates younger women just to feel young again is missing the point. But a man who can connect deeply, stay curious, and invite her into the present moment, that man, he becomes magnetic. Age fades, but emotional connection that's timeless. What kind of woman do you usually go for? At first glance, this one sounds light, harmless, even like something she might toss into the conversation over a quiet coffee or a walk through the park. What kind of woman do you usually go for? But if you're really listening, not just hearing, you'll understand. This is not just about preferences. This is a soft scan, a moment where she's not asking about your past. She's wondering if she has a place in your present or maybe your future. Think about it. She's not just curious. She's hoping to feel, without asking directly, that she might be what you're looking for. But here's the thing. Most men butcher this opportunity. They respond too broadly. I like someone kind, smart, funny, or worse. They go straight for the physical checklist. I like petite brunettes, someone who takes care of herself. The second you turn that question into a visual checklist, the energy shifts. What could have been an emotionally intimate moment becomes transactional. You turn into a man who's comparing her to a blueprint. And no woman wants to feel like she's being measured against your memories, fantasies, or exes. This is a golden opportunity to do something rare. Make her feel safe, seen, valued. Speak to qualities that reflect emotional depth and lived experience. Not just traits, but truths. You might say, I tend to be drawn to women who are thoughtful, who see through things. Someone who can laugh easily, but also sit in stillness without needing to fill it. Boom. That's not a line. That's presence. You're not describing a fantasy. You're describing a vibe, an energy, a way of being. And here's what happens when you speak this way. 1, she feels safer because you're not scanning her body. You're tuning into her energy. 2, she feels like this isn't about a template. It's about her. You've invited her into something real, something most men don't even realize they miss. And if you really want to open the moment up, gently turn the conversation back. Why, do you ask? Not as a defense, but as a calm, open counter. That's not a deflection. That's confidence. And you know what happens when you ask that? You give her space to reveal her real curiosity. You allow her to say with her eyes, if not her words, I just wanted to know if maybe someone like me would be your kind of woman. That's what's underneath every time. You see, most women ask this question hoping you'll say something that makes them feel included, not compared and not just another type. They want to feel like they matter right now, not as a replacement, not as a category, but as a person who moved you in a way no one else quite has. So the next time a woman asks, what kind of woman do you usually go for? Don't hear it as a quiz. Hear it as a doorway. A moment where she's not looking for the right answer. She's looking for a real one. And when you respond from a place of reflection, emotional maturity, and presence, you don't just impress her. You invite her to trust that this moment, this conversation, matters. Are you always this charming? Now, this next question might seem like light-hearted fun. Are you always this charming? It's got that flirtatious tone, a little sparkle in the eye. It sounds casual, playful, even like a compliment tossed in just for fun. But don't let the sweetness fool you. There's something deeper going on here. Because when a woman says this, she's not just admiring your charisma. She's testing the consistency of your emotional presence. Think of it like this. She's asking, is this who you are, or is this a show you put on? Is this real or rehearsed? Because in a world full of men who try hard to impress, who say the right things, flirt the right way, and disappear the next day, what she really wants to know is, can I trust this energy to stay consistent? She's scanning for substance behind the style. And that's where a lot of men mess this up. They either joke it away with only on Tuesdays, or double down and start trying harder to be impressive, or worse, deflect the comment with fake humility that feels awkward and insincere. But that's not what she's looking for. What she really wants in that moment is a small glimpse of your real self. Here's how you stand out. When she says, are you always this charming? Don't perform. Don't chase the compliment. Anchor it. Look her in the eyes. Smile softly and say only with people who actually get it. Boom. That answer does 3 things. 1, it reflects self-awareness. 2, it gives her credit. She brought this side of you out. 3, it makes the moment personal, not performative. Suddenly, she's not just witnessing charm, she's part of it. And that makes her feel seen, valued, and emotionally safe. Most women aren't looking to be dazzled. 8, a safe emotional space where real intimacy can begin. Because the truth is, she's not trying to interrogate you. She's testing for hope. Hope that you're still capable of opening your heart again. And when you answer, not with defense or bravado, but with quiet self-awareness, that's magnetic. That's rare. That's real. Would you ever date someone like me? On the surface, it sounds casual, almost playful. Would you ever date someone like me? She might say it with a grin, a raised brow, maybe even a laugh tucked behind her words. But don't mistake the tone for what it really is. Because beneath those simple words is one of the most emotionally raw, vulnerable, and hopeful questions she could ever ask. She's not just flirting. She's reaching not for your attention, but for emotional ground. What she's really asking is, am I enough? Do you see me? Is there even a chance that I'm not imagining this connection? It's the kind of question that carries hope wrapped in humour and fear wrapped in softness. And if you meet that moment with sarcasm or dismissiveness, if you joke it off or try to play cool, you don't just miss the opportunity. You erase the connection she was bravely trying to create. Here's what most men don't see. That question is not a test. It's a tiny moment of courage, a crack in her guard, a quiet whisper saying, "This matters more than I'm letting on." And in that moment, the way you respond will either make her feel safe and seen or exposed and foolish. The man who understands this doesn't rush. He doesn't reach for a clever one-liner. He doesn't turn it into a game. He pauses, feels the weight of her words, and answers with presence. Something like, "Honestly, I think I'd be lucky if I could." That isn't just a compliment. That's validation without performance. It's truth, gentle, sincere, and steady. And what you say next might matter even more. Nothing. Let the silence breathe. Don't fill it with jokes or over-explaining. Just hold that emotional space with her because in that silence, she feels it, that you're not scrambling to manage her reaction, that you're not trying to manipulate the moment, that you're just there, steady, grounded, real. This kind of presence does something most men overlook. It makes her feel safe in her vulnerability, like she didn't make a mistake asking, like she won't regret lowering the wall. Just a little, like you saw her, not as someone like her, but as her. And here's the deeper truth. Women don't ask this kind of question lightly. They ask it when they're genuinely hoping for a signal, not just of attraction, but of emotional safety. They're wondering, will this man make me feel embarrassed for caring? Or will he meet me here quietly, honestly, and with dignity? So, when she asks, would you ever date someone like me? Don't treat it like a trap. Treat it like a gift. Because that's exactly what it is. A small, brave moment where her heart peeked through her words and asked if it would be safe in your hands. And you don't need poetry to meet that moment. You just need presence. A simple, yeah, I would, said with calm confidence, eye contact, and sincerity can change everything. In that instant, you're no longer a possibility. You become a presence, not someone she flirts with and forgets, someone she remembers because you didn't make her feel foolish for hoping. You made her feel seen for asking. The hidden language of connection. What we've explored today isn't just about understanding attraction. It's about learning how to listen beneath the surface. As we grow older, the rules of connection change. Women no longer shout their interest the way they once might have. Instead, they speak a quieter language, subtle glances, gentle laughter, and these deceptively simple questions that seem like small talk, but are really emotional invitations. If you're present, truly present, you'll begin to hear them. These aren't tests. They're not games. They're openings. Soft human openings that ask, are you still emotionally available? Are you grounded? Are you safe to connect with? And you don't need to be louder, younger, or smoother to answer. You just need to be aware. Aware enough to notice the small questions that carry big meaning. So, if you've ever walked away from a conversation wondering, did that mean something? Maybe now you know it probably did. And if you've missed those moments in the past, you're not alone. But now you'll see them. And maybe, just maybe, you'll respond in a way that opens something beautiful. If this video gave you clarity, confidence, or a moment of truth, I'd love to hear about it. Have you ever experienced one of these questions? Did you miss the cue or catch it just in time? Share your story in the comments. It might help another man feel less alone and more prepared. And if you want to keep exploring the quiet but powerful side of male-female connection, subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay close. We've got more coming. More truths, more insight, more clarity right here on Stoic Mind.